Hi, everyone. It's Alan again from ABTS Training Services in London, England, on a very, very, very lovely summer's day at the end of June. Right. Um, I do get, believe it or not, I do get a lot of requests to run various videos on YouTube, suggestions. And I'm trying to get through those right now and respond to everybody. But one that I'm getting fairly frequently is a very straightforward question. Hi, Alan. Can you please do something on what documents we need when we're importing goods? So here we go. I'm going to talk about importing and the documentation required. Very simple question. What documents do I use? Very complex answer. There isn't a particular straight off answer. So I'm going to give you some ideas about documentation on an import mode. Okay, let's start off with the basics. And I'm generalizing because I'm talking to the world. I'm not talking to somebody in my hometown in London alone or in the UK. So I have to generalize, obviously. So we're going to start off by saying, what documents do I need to present to my customs to clear my goods through customs? Okay, the general answer to that is, and then I'll qualify my answer in a moment. The general answer is normally you will need a commercial invoice and a packing slip. Now, I'm sure some of my viewers are already groaning and saying, oh, come on, Alan, you haven't a clue. If you think it's only a commercial invoice and a packing slip, I'm saying, in general, customs will require, but all customs will require a commercial invoice from your supplier. Why? Because based on the price there, they're going to levy on you a percentage of import duty, if applicable. And they're going to need a packing list or a packing note to see what the heck you're bringing in. And if they need to examine the goods, they can say 3 packages. Let's have a look at package 2. So invoice and packing slip are the general run-of-the-mill documents you need. Now let's get specific, because that is not the correct answer. Now, beyond that, the basic documents, you will sometimes require particular documents for particular imports extra to your invoice and your packing slip. Before I go any further, also sticking my neck out slightly here, many customs regimes will take a copy of an original invoice and a copy of a packing list. They will also take electronically transmitted invoices and packing slips. Okay. So let's move on now. Okay, basic ones, invoice, packing list. But then on occasions, you need other documents. Now, I'm being very general here, saying in other occasions. So I'm just mentioning the documents. A certificate of origin. Your customs might need a certificate of origin to prove the goods came from a particular country or did not come from a particular country. There could be a boycott on goods from a certain country, and they could have preferential trading with a certain country where you don't pay import duty or at a reduced rate. So you might need a certificate of origin. Okay, it's possible your country runs a pre-shipment inspection regime that all goods over a certain value entering your country has to be pre-shipped inspected at the country of export by a recognized inspection agency to make sure that you are getting the quality, the quantity, and the goods at the right price. In other words, your government is very concerned that their importers are not being loaded with rubbish, overpriced rubbish. So there, if you're in a country with PSI at point of export, then you would need a clean report of findings. So you can see already from our humble invoice and packing list, we're going out a bit. And we're talking about you might need a certificate of origin, you might need a PSI, Pre-shipment Inspection Certificate. You might need what is known as a Phytosanitary Certificate. Now, a Phytosanitary Certificate, in plain speak, is a certificate that the importer will need to hand to customs to prove that what they're importing, usually seeds, plants, fresh products, grain, etc., is in perfect condition. That the grain is not full of disease, the plants are not diseased, the food is edible. So you could need a phytosanitary certificate. So see how you're building up here on the simple question, what documents do I need to import my goods? And I gave you the simplistic answer, invoice, packing list, usually. But then I elaborated slightly. And I said a certificate of origin you might need. I gave you the reason. A phytosanitary certificate you might need. On that vein, you might need a certificate to confirm or certify the shelf life of a product. Usually, in my experience, medicines, pills, medicines, they have a shelf life, as you know. Some pills you're taking, they might say, do not take beyond June 2024. That's its shelf life. Now, countries do not allow, and certainly customs do not allow, on an ad hoc basis for you to import pills, let's give it a generic name, pills and medicines, just like that. No. They're safeguarding their citizens. So they're saying to you, invoice, packing list, and a shelf, and it's my wording here, shelf life certificate. Now, I was involved with a very, very large world organization once, which was caught out on that because they did have a shelf life certificate. But the starting date of the shelf life certificate was when the goods were manufactured and boxed. But the country of importation wanted the shelf life to start the day they cleared customs. So they would not accept the shelf life certificates. They said, no, we don't take them. So just as an aside there, be very careful with shelf life certificates. Where does it start? Where does it end? But where does it start? It's very, very important. As I say, one of my clients was caught very, very, very badly. They couldn't bring in the medicine into the country and they lost their shirt, as we say, over it. So shelf life certificate. Now, you might need an import license. An import license is where you cannot bring in ad hoc as much as you want, or as we say, bucket loads of a product. No, you have to apply to your import licensing department in your government for an import license where they might restrict the amount you're allowed to bring in. Or they might want you to apply for a license, an open general license. They'll allow you to bring all you want in, but they're just keeping tabs on how much is coming in. And they do that by, you have to put your hand up and say, may I have an import license? And they grant it to you if it's an open general license. And they add them all up at the end of the year and say, wow, 58 million of these widgets came into the country. We better put a check on this. Okay, so import licenses. So let's go through it again. Invoice, packing list, certificate of origin, pre-shipment inspection, clean report of findings, and now an import license. So, what documents do I need to import? It's more difficult than when I started off very blasé, saying to you, all you need is an invoice and a packing list. You can see, not exactly, Alan, not exactly. Okay, so I've qualified it. And then after that, you might need to produce the bill of lading or the master or house airway bill. Why? If the customs want to ascertain how much is the freight for your goods, say they work import duties on a CIF basis and the invoices, they might ask you, I need a copy of the bill of lading, one original bill of lading, please. Or I need to see the master airway bill, or if it came over in a consolidation, a house airway bill. So you can see now that importing and documentation, it's not straightforward answer. Just to recap before I leave you and fade off, I just go through it again. You have your invoice and your packing list, and as I say, some customs regimes will take copies or e-copies of that. Some of them need originals. But then depending on the items you're bringing in and under what circumstances you're bringing them in, you might need a certificate of origin. You might need a pre-shipment inspection certificate. You might need a phytosanitary certificate. You might need, and getting too excited here, you might need a shelf life certificate. You might need an import license. You might need a bill of lading, and you might need a house airway bill or a master airway bill. Do you notice I said might or may? I don't know. I don't know where you are. I don't know anything about your customs regime. I don't know anything about what you are importing. All I've done is given you food for thought. It's not just straightforward invoice and packing list. Okay, finally, my tip of the week. Like Alan's tip of the week. Before, on a serious note now, before you decide to import whatever it is you're importing, contact a clearing agent and say to that clearing agent, I intend to import this item. Can you please tell me what documents you will require from me to make a successful import entry? And that clearing agent will tell you. And he might say, this guy Alan is talking through his head. We need more than an invoice and a packing list. We need blah, 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 blah. Good. Now you know. So I would say in my parting tip, yet again, is be aware, now you are aware, that, import documentation can be complex and can be simplistic. But it's you that is the person that has to find out, what documents do I need? Alan gave us kind of a bit of a rundown and generalized a hell of a lot. Now I know I can think like that now. I know I might need certain documents for certain customs regimes. Better ring my clearing agent and find out, because if your clearing agent doesn't know, who knows? Nobody. Okay, so I'm going to go now. It was a short video. It was just on what documents do I need to import goods. I'm going through my list slowly, and I'm going to do just short videos on other questions you kindly sent to me. I love these questions, by the way. Don't stop sending them. I love them. Some of them are very complex answers, and some of them are a joy to answer. They're very straightforward, like our import presentation. So to the lady, and I do forget her name, to the lady out there who asked this question, and I said to her, don't worry, I'll do a YouTube. This YouTube is dedicated to you. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.